Okay, so tonight we are going to be talking about the topic is I didn't think about that mind blowing RV stories from Steve. Now, he's not the best storyteller, but it's a good story.
So
Um,
Erica will chime in, and the things that I forgot in the stories to make it more interesting, but I'll tell you the facts.
and I was going to do horror stories, but I'm like, I don't think these are really horror stories. So it took me a while to figure out to change. I'm like, well, these are mind blowing. Of you think you buy an RV and they work and they don't. And then we're going to answer your hi from Brady. Hi,
Hi, Brady.
Brady. That's my nephew. Um, we're going to answer your questions in between, so I'm going to try to catch those in the chat so you guys can put those in here. And if it's just specific to your RV that no one else is not going to help, just message us those. But if it's something more general, if you're like, how does this caulk look like in the back of the, I guess you probably can't post pictures in this. Just things that are more general that we can answer that helps other people. Put those questions in tonight and then message us the other ones and we will help with that. And then we're going to talk about our subscriber group and go in between the stories. So, to make it fun, I have taken my little topics that I made from Steve's stories and I will draw one. Steve will tell it and then we'll answer your questions in between. So, you ready?
Yes. So I know the stories out there, obviously, because I was
He
part
gave
of them, but it'll take me just a second to read to know what the bullet
Yeah, so
points
he
are.
has the cheat sheet with the I have a little light right here trying to get light. So, I'm not sure cuz we're in an RV. It's brown, it's stale, lighting's bad. So, I'm trying to get light. I can see there's a little glare on my face. Okay, you guys ready? The first one. This was our second day up in our service area, and this was after we saw you, Vicky. You were the first service call that day, and then we went to an RV for another scheduled one, and then this was a walkover. So you have to feel like extra special. So this is AC woes that keep you sweating.
Okay.
I felt really bad for this family. And some of these I know our followers watch, so you might have your story on here today.
Yes, and we'll keep your names out of it, so
Yeah.
identities will be hidden. Don't worry, no one's to be embarrassed.
Well, it's usually not their fault. Most
No,
of
it's
these, it's
not.
not their fault. It's just
Just
something
bad
broke.
luck. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was 4th of July weekend. We just got into our service area in around the Iosco County. So this is up in Oscoda. And the customer had air conditioner that was not cooling, and they were obviously tired of that. So they went to the local dealership. I'm not sure what information they gave them, but they either said, take this one, it's a plug and play air conditioner. All you have to do is screw it on top of the roof, plug it in, and you're good. We were across the road fixing another air conditioner, and Erica was outside, and they asked her, like, "Hey, can you help us with this?" And it was already pushing. I think we were.
It was like 7 o'clock.
Yeah,
At
seven
that point.
o'clock at
When
that
you
point.
started this service call, it was 7. It was like 6:37.
Yeah, and it was getting dark right about 9:30 this time of the year.
10 o'clock.
10. And Erica said, "Sure, we'll come over there and help." So I looked at it. Their old air conditioner was the circuit board was hardwired in. It means you had to have physical connectors and wires spliced in to make it work. The new air conditioner is a plug and play one, has a plug on it, but the plug has to go to a circuit board. The circuit board is wired into the RV. So I had the circuit board and the thermostat to be able to change everything over for him. So we screwed the air conditioner on top of the roof. It's not one that bolts from the inside up that you can see the grill. It's a whisper quiet one. And screwed it down, sealed it, hooked everything up, put the thermostat in. It's dark. Erica has a light bar going.
Mosquitoes,
Mosquitoes are
crazies.
just trying to carry us away off the roof. And we got to the point, turned the AC on, and cool air was not coming out. Tested the coolness of it, and it was very low delta T, means it wasn't producing cold air. And amp draw was like 4 or 5 amps. Like, something is wrong here. I don't know. It's 11 o'clock. Call it a day. We'll come back tomorrow, take a look at it. Sure enough, tomorrow comes. Go out there, test everything, verify, yes, it's bad. So I filled out the tech sheet for them to give to the dealership, gave them all the information. And so they had to turn a warranty in. About 2 weeks later, they got the new air conditioner, came out there. The dealership installed that one, the one that they bought it from, and took care of everything. And they were nothing out of pocket, did everything right on that part. And then a few months later, the air conditioner was working after that. But then a few months later, the air conditioner would cool, thermostat shuts off, and then it wouldn't come back on again. And I talked to So this is a thermostat that I put in with a control box, so it was my issue to take care of at that point. So I took care of that underneath warranty, changed the thermostat out, but when I took the next trip, they were still having a similar issue. So as to be continued on this one, you probably see this in the spring story, but when I talked to the medic and I was there for training, they said it could be the converter giving off AC ripple, which is a interference voltage issue giving a problem. So I have more things to check on it, and we'll definitely get it figured out for them before the hot summer gets here. But I really feel bad for all
it still
the
doesn't
chaos
work.
they've gone through for the air conditioner.
It still doesn't work.
Oh.
He's like, I know who I am.
And I now have the tester that I can test the air conditioner before you install it on the roof to verify it's good, to save yourself all that hassle. So between that one and the second AC job that we did right after that, we determined it was smart to have the tester and save yourself a lot of work to make sure what you're pulling up on the roof is a good unit.
Do you remember at the end, it was like, I mean, they were tired, we were tired, and he's just like, you're like, it doesn't work. And it was like 90 degrees, I don't know, it was hot and sweaty. And it was just like the big letdown at the end, and it didn't work. Like if we would have tested it before, but they already had it up on the roof and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so Thomas Robinson says, horror stories are good. I don't think these are horror stories, though. So, I mean, we'll do another one, horror stories, if I get enough. And Tyler... Ty. I think it's Ty.
So how do you feel about
really
soft starts
about
and a 30 amp service? Soft starts are awesome.
You just did one like last week.
Yes. And with a soft start, what a soft start does, it installs in your air conditioner and it lowers your startup amps. So when air conditioner is running, it can use up to about 20 amps of power, but when it starts up, it can draw 70 amps for a split second. And what happens a lot in the 30 amp RVs, or even if you're on a 20 amp service trying to run something like that, if you're running the fridge or the converter and your air conditioner tries to start up, it'll overdraw the system. So a soft start will bring that startup power down to 18 to 20 amps, which is much less than 70, and you can actually start up an air conditioner off of a 20 amp service, just like the customer we just did, so they can plug their AC in at their house, turn the fridge on, get the batteries charged up, and run the AC and cool it off, because when we just installed, they live in Texas, and obviously it's hot in the summer when they're camping.
And if you scroll back on our page, a couple of reels, you can see the soft start reel that we posted. And then what time is it in Texas? It is 7:12. We are 1 hour behind Central Time, Brady. You want to answer this one too, and then we'll go on to the next question.
So can you seal a skylight in the winter? He bought the butyl skylight, or a butyl skylight sealant. Temperature is above freezing. No, because if it's above freezing during the day, but it dips down below freezing at night, that sealant is not going to cure, and there's a little bit of, somewhere in that sealant there's water in there, and that's going to freeze and cause you issues. So you definitely don't want to have your sealant freeze, I would say within the first 48 hours, because that's the most crucial cure time. Dicor sealant takes 28 days to fully cure. Within the first 48 hours, it cures up to 80%, and the last 20% takes the additional.
But they say it's above freezing, so it's not freezing.
But it's above freezing, but it's above 40. 40 is the application temperature for sealant. And don't let it be below freezing. So your call on that, but I would wait till the spring if you could. Put some duct tape or whatever ugly sealant you could put up there to get you by to the spring.
Okay, well, I'll start answering those in a little bit. Okay. Did the intern build this? Here are your bullet points to remember that story. And this one is not fully his story, but it's half before he was... Well, I guess this is all before you were an RV tech.
Yes, this is before.
But it's a terrible. It's a good story.
But I was involved on the second half of the repairs. So this one is actually my cousin's RV that he bought. My brother was there.
This is a true lemon.
Doing some other stuff and helping him get the RV ready. So to back up, I bought a brand new RV from a dealership, and said, I don't have time to go through all the stuff. So make sure it's ready to go when I get there. The dealership says, got it. We'll check everything off the list and go through it. All you have to do is pick it up and take it home. So that's what he did. Did the paperwork and all that stuff you have to do. Took it home. Going on a camping trip in the near future. Let's hook up water to it. Hooked up water, turned it on, and wait a minute, hot water's not working, these type of things. Oh, hold on. Here we go. Here's the issue. So water is flowing out of the slide out where the sinks are, where the water heater's at. So they shut the water off. Literally had to mop up water off of the floor. It was flowing out of the RV, underneath the slide out, onto the ground underneath. Brand new RV. So, not good situation. So, they went through and tightened the water lines. There's probably 6 or 7 water lines that were not tight, completely leaking. Like someone put them on like one thread and didn't finish it the rest of the way. So, obviously, they didn't know to finish their job that day. So, they took care of that, went on the first camping trip, and trying to level the RV. So the leveling system is trying to go down, but it's trying to turn the RV like this because. So I'll tell you because in a second. And it was they had to manually level the RV during that trip.
In here a little better.
Yeah, there you go. Got me half
Get
cut
a little
off.
bit more, yeah.
And
we have it a little cut off because you can see the lights right here, so I'm trying to cut Steve's.
So I got to stay down a little bit.
Yeah, so he has to duck, and then I gotta to get tall.
So after the camping trip, that's when I went out there because they knew that I could fix it. Been doing our YouTube channel and fixing RVs, knew enough about the systems. And on the leveling system, there's a control box that mounts up to the floor. There we go, kind of like that. But they put one screw in it, so it fell down like that.
How many screws are supposed to be in it?
2. Oh. And the one screw fell out of it, and the box was hanging down, so we had to screw that back up, and then recalibrate the system to level it out. And what else? Went around it, just kind of looked at things. The bedroom slide out would close, but it wouldn't close all but 2 inches. So we had to adjust the slide out, corrected that issue for him. And he had something else go wrong after that. I forgot what the issue was, but it was something I had to go back to the dealership for. Took it back there. It was a simple fix, and they called and says, "Okay, your RV is ready to go. Come on Friday to get it." And on Friday they called, "Oh, by the way, you can't come get your RV because we ran into it with a forklift, put a hole in the front of it. So now it has to go to the body shop." So they ended up fixing that, took care of everything, but it's like, seriously.
How long did he not have it for?
Well, it was pretty much most of the year.
And that's like everyone's story when they don't have their RV. Okay, more questions. We're talking about tallness. I hope I didn't mess it up. Someone asked about how do you grow tall as Steve?
We drank a lot of milk when we were kids.
He came out tall. How tall long were you? Like 24?
I was 2 feet tall when I was born.
And it wasn't a birth certificate, but they had some kind of piece of paper, and
It was a birth certificate.
no, it wasn't the official. It wasn't a birth certificate. It was like a
Where
certificate.
my feet prints don't fit on the thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, birth certificate.
I don't think it
Where they
wasn't
put
the
your
official.
fingerprints and feet prints
Whatever.
on?
His
But they don't fit on the space.
Yeah, the little box that they had, his feet were hanging off of it.
And Mike, I'm officially, someone asked me how tall I am. I'm 5'17".
I thought that he was. I was like, oh, okay, it's 6'5" when you do the math. But he kept saying that to people when we first got together, and I was like, oh, okay, you are 5'17". Brian asked, where did you go to training to become an RV tech and inspector?
That was through the NRVTA and NRVIA, which is in Athens, Texas. So that
I'm
would
gonna
have
link
been,
the video at some point here after.
So they have a great program, lots of hands-on, great education to learn all the inner workings of the appliances and things of the RV. I will say that having a background knowledge in plumbing, electrical certainly helps for troubleshooting, and I had a lot of that to start with for knowing how to figure things out. The NRVTA basically put me over the edge and know exactly how the wiring flows through all the appliances, and the inspector class went through all of the inspector stuff, which was new to me. Kind of not all new to me, because I was a level 1 PDI tech since 2020, just for my own knowledge and doing our video stuff, but I didn't do any work on people's RVs besides friends or family leading up to the NRVTA, because I told Erica I was not going to work on RVs unless I knew exactly how to work on them and what was going to happen. I wouldn't be the guy sitting there behind a fridge with a YouTube video out telling me how to fix it. I'm going to know how to fix it, or be the guy on a YouTube channel teach someone else how to fix it.
And this is something before we became a tech. It's always been in the back of our mind. When we started our YouTube channel, Radar Road Warriors, the video that, well, I didn't share that video. I just shared a different one, the next one that we did about how we started. But in there it says that I'm going to be filming him making YouTube videos how to fix RVs, and that was what our channel was about. So obviously this is natural that we went into it. But every time I heard a podcast or anything, because I listened to audiobooks and podcasts constantly every single day, I would send him every single episode that I heard about mobile RV tech and then how they're doing stuff, because I figured we can never do it on the road, which we obviously can. But it was 3 years in the making of us finally doing what we were supposed to be doing.
Want to answer Greg's question?
Yeah,
So
answer
Greg
Greg's,
says,
and I'm going to post that link right now.
Greg said, I'm on shore power and try to start my furnace and the AC comes on. On the battery, furnace works fine. So what's happening is your thermostat is probably a domestic thermostat, and you have the fan set to low or high. You have to set the fan mode on your thermostat to auto when you're running your heat. Otherwise, low or high will circulate the air conditioner fan and it runs the furnace at the same time. But that's just a default setting of the system. So you run on auto, it knows what you're trying to run, and it'll only run a furnace fan.
But when you do it on auto, don't you have to take it off at night or something in that one video?
When you run your heat in auto, you don't have to touch it.
Oh. I wasn't really paying attention. Okay. This one, you ready?
Yes.
Brakes be gone. Why do we need brakes?
They're optional, right?
Well, there was a person on YouTube that or on our comment that said
they
that
got ate alive.
I just put one comment and they got ate alive by everybody, which he should have. He didn't really care about having brakes or spending money on brakes.
Okay, so they. Have I read this one?
Oh, I don't know. I thought it was
No, I got it on
garbage.
the ground here that I already read.
Okay, let me see.
We're just trying to throw out the good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, they bought a new RV, traveled around the country for 2 years. They knew maintenance needed to be done of the RV and brakes and wheel bearings and all that type of thing. So that's why they scheduled me to come out. I want to make sure they're service the wheel bearings and normal maintenance before they were to leave again for the winter. This is in Michigan. And took off to service the wheel bearings, you have to take off the tire, remove the brake drum assembly, and your bearings are inside there. At that point, you can inspect the brakes themselves, look at the components, how thick the linings are, make sure all the pieces are good, nothing's broken inside there. So the first drum come off, and a magnet actuates the brake, was not connected, it was loose, actually it fell out. So okay, we need a magnet. Put that one back together, we'll come back to that one. Took a second one off, brakes look good on that one, service the wheel bearings, move on to the third one. Took the third one off, there was no brake pad left, completely gone. And the fourth one, same thing. Now, throughout the process looking at it, on the second wheel or so, and I was looking, I noticed that there was a lot of play between the leaf spring and the frame, so where the bolt was. So it was loose in there, and there was no grease, and the bushing was loose in there. I tried to put grease into it, couldn't put grease into those bolts. And so I brought that up to the customer so they could see what it was. I also told them about the brake issues. Okay, we have 2 brakes that are completely gone. We have 2 that have brake pads onto them, one that needs a magnet onto it. We're going to change the left side, we need to change the right side on this, otherwise your trailer's going to go like this as you try to brake. So they had us order brakes, new suspension, bolts, everything, come back out, changing the system, or changing the brakes, put the first brake on to test the brake and adjust everything. You have to have the wheel jacked up, spin the tire a little bit, and make sure it stops by pulling the emergency cord out the front. Pulled that, nothing happened.
You kept saying, like, are you spinning it or whatever? Like, I'm doing what you told me. Like,
yeah, she's done this before many
working.
times and knows what to do.
It's not working.
And so I tested the switch, and the switch was bad. It was rusted and stuck on the inside. So once we changed the emergency switch, put all 4 new brakes on, serviced the wheel bearings, all new suspension components on it, greased everything, then they were off on their trip. He says, don't worry, I won't let my maintenance get behind that long again.
This reminds me, we got a lot of good content. Some of the stuff you guys can remember from our reels and our stories because it's all there. But I still have photos of those little U things.
The U is supposed to be circles, the bushings?
Yeah, the bushings that we haven't posted this
So
stuff.
more content to come.
Some of the content might be months old by the time you see it on Facebook. Because in December, I don't know what the call was, but I said, okay, we're ready to do this. And then the phone rang, the business phone. And then you had a huge job, and then you never came back to it. We never finished it. So, yeah, we still have content from that job that we need to post. Educational stuff. If it's a video, I can post it, but I need to do a write-up, and I don't know what it is. But I have a good photo.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay, I just posted the link to this one, so when you read it, you can talk
Janet
about
said,
it.
what is your recommendation for a surge protector? My travel trailer is 30 amp. So my favorite surge protector is a Watchdog, but not just Watchdog name. You want to have the Watchdog with EPO. EPO, which stands for Emergency Power Off, and it monitors your power 24/7. So it's looking at the voltage coming in, checking your amps coming in. It's looking for loose wires and connections. It's out there watching it all the time. If you have a basic surge protector, one with just the 3 or 4 lights on it, unless you're out there with a lawn chair looking at those lights 24/7, you're never going to know if there's an issue with your power because it's going to continue to send that bad power through. It's not checking for high voltage, too many amps, those items that can damage your wiring of your RV. So the Watchdog is my favorite. There's a few other ones out there that have a EMS type system at the same as EPO, but Watchdog is nice with the app you can use, and it has the surge module that you can replace
Oh yeah.
if you were to ever have an issue.
And that video, I can't see it on here, but I can see it on my phone, so it must have posted.
And
It's
most
very
people
detailed.
think a surge protector is what you need for the surge. It's normally all the bad power situations like loose connections, voltage issues, and all that is more of an issue with RVs than it is a surge where someone runs into a pole, on the road and the wires slap together, or a storm, you have a surge. Surges are pretty rare compared to the actual everyday power issues.
Like you're talking about in the summer when it gets really hot and you have the brownouts.
Yeah, really hot and the voltage goes down, so if it gets below 104 volts, it cuts off because anything lower than that is going to damage your air conditioners and appliances inside the RV.
When we were in Oklahoma at our friend's house, he had just had his property hooked up with brand new electricity, and our surge protector, you can hear it. It has like a big click when it goes off, and it was like off, on, off, on, off, on. It's like, I'm so glad that we have the Watchdog.
Yes, it can be annoying, but it's certainly saving issues.
Okay, you ready?
Let's go.
You guys ready? They don't make that anymore. This is always a fun thing to find out.
Oh, yeah.
This happened in December, so you guys might remember this one. This is when our doctor texted and said, hey, my neighbor needs some help, and I know that you know what to do.
So he was getting ready for the trip to go to Florida for the winter, and it's a 2005 Class A, beautiful motorhome, well taken care of, so it's not a lack of maintenance at all in this situation.
Wait, and before, because I know you're going to leave this out, the dealer told him, we can't fix it, just get a new motorhome. Like, this is a really nice motorhome. No, just get a new one, it's okay. They don't have this part anymore.
Yeah, this is a little
Wrong answer.
A lot of money in a new one. So in 2005, the suspension and leveling system was made by Firestone. It was called the Firestone Intelleride system, and it leveled the RV by air in the four corners, and it had two modes on it to lower the RV or raise it up if you needed more clearance to go in and out of places or whatever reason that applied. Has a switch panel inside, and that's how you control it. And normally when you turn it on, lights would come on, those type of things. That was the first issue that he had. So he called around different repair shops and dealers, and that's where he heard, just buy a new RV. And he had someone come out that was able to trace down a little bit of the wiring stuff. They were actually a radio repair person, so they didn't know anything about RVs, but the guy said, I can look at circuit boards and figure that stuff out. So traced that down and thought there was an issue. I think it was they thought it was the computer. And I said, I need to look at it first to see what's going on. So I looked at it, and my first thought was between the computer or the switch, somewhere in there, but it had some wiring issues, things I needed to fix. So I emailed the company that bought the Intelleride system, which is Right, which is now out of Ireland. So I couldn't call them because the phone wouldn't call to Ireland. I tried, but they were responsive on the emails once I got to the right person to bounce back and forth with. So they sent me all the wiring diagrams, all those type of things. Went back to the RV and thought maybe it was a chewed wire because it had some mice issues in there, but those are wires something else that I repaired. And by the time I got done, I said, I think it's the computer, but we can order the switch from Ireland, but we don't know what customs are going to be. It could be a big pain. If you try the switch panel, doesn't work, you have to put a whole new leveling system in the RV. So he took it to a bus garage. They came up with the same thing. They says, we're done with it. Now it's back on my plate in the springtime to put a new system in it.
Is it?
It is.
I did not know that.
But in the meantime, I think I might have found a intermediate solution, maybe, hopefully. I had him send the switch panel and computer to Dinosaur Electronics out of Oregon because they will troubleshoot circuit boards, those type of things. And if they determine it's good, they'll send it back. If they can fix it, they will, or they'll tell you which part is bad for sure. So maybe it's a switch panel, or maybe they can fix it, and he can get by, plug everything back in, and away he goes.
Okay, so I have questions because I just learned about this. Did that whatever piece already get shipped to them, or did you have to ship it to them in the spring?
The switch panel was never ordered because he took it to the bus garage to see.
Yeah, but the thing that you have to ship to Dinosaur Electronics, has that already been shipped?
He was supposed to. I should check with him to see. That was a week ago.
Okay.
He was bringing it home, and it was a snowstorm in Michigan, so I wasn't sure when he was sending it. But by now it should be sent, so I should make a note on that.
Oh, I'll make a note in a second. So, okay, now this makes me think of another thing. We try not to get jobs out of our service area because we find we do take some jobs Midland and Bay City are our normal routes to go to the doctors and to go Menards and go get parts and stuff. And that's an hour and a half or hour and 45 minutes, depending on which city you go to. So this person is not in our service area, and we took this job in December when we didn't have much going on because he could do it, and now he just said it's back on his plate. So we're not going to just drive there to do the service call because the mileage fee would be ridiculous. I mean, he could pay the mileage fee if he wanted, but we go there about once a month, and when we do our errands, that's when these people who are outside of our service area get picked back up. Mm-hmm. So this is probably going to be a whole summer project, and that's a reason.
If I'm replacing the whole leveling system, that's a big job. I don't know how long it's going to take, but it might be about 2 days before I might need to sleep in the RV.
So there's a reason why we don't take jobs out of our service area very often, and when we do, they always seem to be very, very long, and this is why. Okay, you answer the next question right here, but you're probably not going to be able to answer it, and I'll write down your...
Brett, he needs to replace the outside sweeps of his slide-out 2021 Vibe RV. How do I find a part number? What's the best brand? Well, there's not really part numbers of seals. The best way is to visually look and match them up. I would recommend you go to Steel Products or Steel RV Seals, something like that. If you search Google that, Steel RV Seals, and you'll come up to their website. They have a lot of options on there for seals. You can search by shapes and measurements, those type of things. Match up what you have. Their products are great. I use those all the time, so they hold up really well. Your other option out there is AP Products for slide-out seals. They make a lot of options. There's some one-offs out there, but those are your two main ones.
Okay, before we do more, let's talk right now, because I'm totally going to forget about it, about the Facebook subscription that we're super happy about for several different reasons. And so we're going to do this. So the Facebook subscription, we talked about it a couple times. I actually was testing it, and Facebook said, when you're ready, hit this button and it will go live. Well, it was live before, and someone's like, what is this? And I was like, oh, I better talk about that. I haven't done anything for it and let people in. So I let people in before we were ready for it. So the Facebook subscription is for DIY RVers, RV techs, future RV techs, which I think that's the main people that follow us is future RV techs because we get a bazillion questions, and then any of our followers. So why don't you talk about what it comes with?
So when you're a subscriber, you have access off of our Facebook page for subscriber-only content, and there's a private Facebook group that we can post information, people can ask questions, and we can put files and links and those type of things in there for more of a business resource. So you have access to that private Facebook group once you're a subscriber.
And Steve's in there daily answering questions.
Answering questions back and forth with people. And occasionally people will send me a private message for something. And if they're a subscriber, I'm like, just put that into the group. I'll answer it there. Because I've answered this question 4 times in the last month. So I know a lot more people are asking the same thing or wondering about it. So we can help more masses at the same time by answering them in one area. And then...
I gotta stop touching the table. I'm sorry, we're bouncing.
Yeah, I'm a table toucher. And in the group, Erica can go live on a job site. So
I'm not in the group, just in the subscription.
Oh.
The group I'm keeping for like questions and stuff. They can still see it.
Okay, anyway, that's where live's at. I don't know all the facts because I'm still busy and Erica's got everything ironed out.
So I can go live during jobs, and when I do reels, they were 60 seconds, but Facebook and Instagram just increased them to 90 seconds, which gives me a lot more time to put details, because a lot of times I'm like, I need to cut out 7 seconds, so this will post. What 7 seconds of information am I cutting out? And so I can go live and show more information and kind of shaky footage and stuff that I would not put on our business page for the subscribers.
And also you'll have early access to information that we post. So if we post something and it's a popular topic that your comments might get lost or things might get busy, that we'll see your stuff right away because there's not as many subscribers as there is followers to the page. So if you ask questions, you get a lot more one-on-one information before it goes to the masses and everything goes crazy.
Yeah, I have to follow my notes here because this is like a whole bunch of stuff and we'll get off topic. So what's happening is our page is growing and a whole bunch more people are watching our YouTube videos, and they reach out and they're like, I just want to pick your brain on some stuff. And right now we have time to answer, but in the summer we don't have that much time to answer, so we're trying to get our time back and funneling all of the questions into the group. So like people have subscribed to the group, and then they privately message Steve and ask a question. He's like, hey, can you copy and paste that into the group? So that way more people can know about it. Because you're not the only one who has asked me this question. So we're trying to get everything into this group to answer the questions, and you guys can learn from each other and then search past questions that we're asked and everything. Because right now we're just doing one-off ones in the messages or in emails, and we don't have enough time for that anymore.
And then, sorry, I wasn't paying attention to keep track.
Right here.
So the Facebook subscription makes it easy for us to provide the extra information and keeps it in one area. So, and Facebook keeps track of the subscribers and the Facebook group, so we don't have to add extra processes and manage everything. If you want to be a subscriber for a month and then you're done after that and you bounce, Facebook just says, okay, you're out. And if you want to be a subscriber, they give you access to the Facebook group. So we don't have to be in there managing someone that pays back and forth. And it's not a lot of money for it. It just gives an easy way to manage the whole system, and it's not a lot out of your pocket if you want to be a subscriber.
And you know who doesn't subscribe to groups?
Trolls.
Because they don't pay, so it's troll free, which is nice. And so the big thing about this that we love is we love providing the information, but we don't want this on our public Facebook page. Like, people go to our public Facebook page to hire us for business, and they're trying to see if we can like fix their fridge. And if there's a whole bunch of weird information on there about Steve sharing information about business tactics and weird repairs and things, like, people are like, what is this? Our subscribers can go to our page and they see all that, but when the public goes to our page, they don't see that information. So it's a great way for us to segment it. And so if you are a subscriber, you would know it's 99 cents a month. I tried to do the free version that Facebook in the article said that there was a free version. Well, there's not. And so it's Facebook, they want money, so they can take fees out of it. So right now it's 99 cents, and I'm keeping it 99 cents until March. I keep saying that all day. March 10th. That March 11th was our like 1 year that I feel like we came to this RV park and we were in business. And so I'm trying to get all our OG subscribers, if they want to join the group. And a whole bunch of people, you don't need to join the group. If you don't need this extra information, you don't want to do a deep dive with Steve, you don't need the group. But there's a lot of people that follow us and they want this information. So I'm keeping it 99 cents until March 10th, and then it's going to go to $4.99. Either way.
Wasn't there a $2.99?
No, it's
Oh, okay.
It's $4.99 on March 10th or March 11th. That would be $60 a year. It's a whole bunch of great information. They can come in for a month, bounce if they want to get the files or not. And if you think we're trying to do this to make a whole bunch of money, we're probably going to make $40 to $100 a month off this. And I have hours of time into it. I could do none of this, and Steve could work an extra half hour a month, and we'd make the same amount of money. We're doing this for our sanity, because we just get the same messages over and over and over and over.
And we love to help people. We don't want to stop doing that. So this is a great way to help multiple people
at the same time.
Yes.
Okay, so that's what the Facebook subscription. If you're interested, it's up on the top of our page. It says blue subscribe. That's what that thing is. And you can come over and join us for the deep dive and all the behind the scenes. Okay. You ready for the next one?
Let's go.
This was your whole summer. The creeping slide out.
This was a pet project of mine over the summer.
He's only allowed to do a couple pet projects a year.
Yes.
Because they take a lot of time.
I could do more stories after like last 2 days too, especially.
Oh yeah.
But, so this was a new RV in 2000. Should have been 18. That's what year the RV was. So I bought the RV new, and when he bought it from a dealership, which was an hour from where his seasonal spot was, they had a transport driver bring the RV over because he doesn't have a truck to move it because it's at a seasonal spot. It's sitting there and never moves. Now, during that hour time frame, that delivery driver had to stop 3 times to put the slide outs in. To do that, he hit the retract all on the leveling jacks. So there's something wrong in the system because he was pushing the leveling retract to bring the slide outs in, and it's 2 different buttons. Now, the owner didn't know this until the transport driver dropped the RV off, set it up, and when he was leaving, oh, by the way, then he told him about having to bring the slide outs in, and the owner's like, seriously, why didn't you take it back
off?
So they can be fixed? Why did you drop off something that's broken? And the guy didn't care. He just dropped it off, and that was it. Now, they had someone out there looking at the RV, trying to figure it out over the years, probably more when it was newer. I don't know the exact time frame on it because I was in it.
I think you got it 2018.
Yeah,
I
2018,
believe.
2023 I was there, so what's that, 5 years, 4 years, however the math works out. And someone changed one of the slide out cylinders because they determined that was bad. They thought some air was in the system. Getting air out of the system, they burnt up the electric motor pump because they overheated it. And that was the last time someone worked on it. He just dealt with it for years. The slide outs would creep out. They tried putting 2x4s in it over the winter or over the week, and those would get stuck, and it was just a big hassle.
But
he was done with it.
this is a RV that doesn't move, so he didn't have to take it on the road because it would have been creeping out while he drove.
Yes, it was stationary RV, so seasonal spot. It's there all year round. And I forgot where I was going with that. Oh, so I did some other work for him, and he said, I just want this issue fixed. I know you can fix it, just fix it. And it was certainly a head scratcher. I went through the people at Lippert trying to figure it out. They went to the top person, couldn't get any more answers.
Felt bad every time you get to a lower. Just give me the top person.
They're reading through like the bullet point scripts. I'm like, that's not gonna get me anywhere. I need to go like past you to the person who has seen it all. And the person that's seen it all haven't seen this one. They've had issues. The slide out's creeping out. Everything they could do. Talk for a second.
I have nothing to say.
Got something dry in my throat. But everything they gave to do or to test wouldn't give a resolution to the issue. And I talked to Chandler, who is the exterior teacher, very, very smart, has almost seen it all. And he gave me the pointers on how to test things and go around the RV. So we ended up figuring out there was 2 things wrong, but we didn't know it until we had to change the first part first. So I had a failed test on the pump. There's what's called a shuttle valve inside that keeps the pressure in one position, doesn't let the extend retract move once it's in that position. And that was not holding its pressure. Change the pump out. The slide out was still going out. And I tested all of these cylinders for the normal 20-minute time, but apparently needed more time to be able to fail the test. So we ended up changing the other slide out cylinder, and that finally took care of it. And that was, the park was closing in one day for the winter, so we barely got it done before the winter was there. And I went back in a couple days before the park closed. Everything was in, it was tight. We knew for sure everything was good. So he is a happy camper. Well, we'll be happy camper. He is a happy camper, but camp again in the summertime.
I got 2 things to add to that. Chandler is the teacher at the NRVTA. That's what he's talking about. So he has a great network he can rely on and call when he has really big issues. And with the Facebook subscription, whatever price you come in at, so if you're 99 cents right now, when the price increases, you stay at 99 cents. I forgot about that.
Want to answer a question?
Yeah, we're going to answer a question.
Okay.
The one right here.
So Norman says, what RV or RV warranty companies are the most responsible for their products if there are any problems?
Well, you just said this right before we went live.
Yes.
You were like, this is great.
So I've worked with one before. I believe on the previous videos I talked about this. Grand Design is a good one at taking care of their customers. There's some other ones out there do a great job as well, very responsive, do warranties and issues and sending parts out. And I know Alliance is good at some of those ones. A few other ones I worked with throughout the summer. But just off the top of my mind, I talked to Grand Design on a customer called them Monday from issue I saw over the weekend. And I called Grand Design. They approved it right over the phone. I didn't have to send in any estimates, issues, things like that. But I had another issue in water lines. They said send pictures over, so they approved that. And just this evening, I saw the email come through. Hey, your parts are shipped out. Here's a tracking number. The stuff should be there in a couple days. Some other warranty jobs I had in the summertime, it was a month trying to get an email response back of parts, and then to send the wrong parts and wait for them again. It was a really long, drawn-out process. So you really, as a tech, know how much your time is going to be wasted of areas. If you're working with someone that is very responsive, it certainly helps because you're not wasting your time, and I don't have to charge a customer time for phone calls and office stuff trying to take care of their issues.
Well, and as an RVer, if you work with a company that has great customer service, it's easier to get your RV fixed. Brian says, do you guys stop at Northwood Outfitters when you go south? I'm guessing he's talking about in Pinconning or somewhere close there. I went there to pick up my nephew, but we don't really shop there. Thomas said we're frozen. Hopefully that was short. I didn't think it told us we were screwed up. found the website with the steel rubber. Thanks.
You're welcome. And yes, this will be recorded, be on our page to view later.
Yes. We'll answer one more. John Ryan.
If the caulking cracks in the roof, do you have to remove it before putting more on, or just put over old caulking after cleaning and prepping? My rule of thumb on that is what condition the sealant is underneath. If the sealant underneath, or the stuff you're looking at that's cracked, if it's soft, you can put your fingernail into it and it's still putty-like, or if you clean the top layer off and it is sticky enough where it's going to bond to, but if it's really dry and hard and cracked, you're not going to have new sealant be able to stick to it. At that point, you have to peel it off. So if it's only a couple-year-old sealant and the RV is stretched and is flexed and the sealant is settled, like around skylights, those type of things, you can clean it, put new sealant over top of it, and you're good. But if it's really bad and cracked, you have to peel it off. So it's situational based, but you need to know what you're working with underneath of how good it is first.
And I think we're to the bottom of the comment, so if we missed your comment, retype it because I can't see it. I can't really keep scrolling back and forth. Oh gosh, this one. Leaks everywhere. Yay! They didn't winterize. I can tell you that.
Yes, so I've had some of these issues lately because of the cold that come through Texas as well. So this
You've been
customer,
fixing leaks like last 2 weeks.
yes,
Everyone's starting to use it, and they're like, "Oh, I got leaks," and it's not just one leak.
Mm-hmm. This customer, they live in Ohio, so obviously that's a cold area if you know where the weather is, and they didn't winterize the RV the winter before because they got some cold through their area. I think they're further south Ohio, but they didn't think it was going to be cold long enough to hurt anything. Normally they check their RV out before they go on camping trips, but this situation, they were busy, didn't have time, drove from Ohio up to the campground in Michigan, went to use the RV, turned the water on, and it's leaking out of the toilet. Not out of the toilet, but behind the toilet. So somewhere along the line they had the toilet valve, but they didn't have all the tools and parts to put it in. So they had me come in this situation, they wanted a shut-off valve put in it. So I put the shut-off valve in the toilet, put the little flex hose, repaired the toilet valve, put it back in place. That is good. And the lady says, I'm going to the beach. You and my husband take care of the RV. When I get back,
Sounds like me.
make sure everything works. Exactly. And not lose my vacation because of water leaks. So go through the RV, checking things out, turn the shower knobs on, and then water is leaking out of the actual faucet itself. Not the end of the world there. Putting the faucet on, screw it on. But water is also leaking behind the wall because there's a vent right there. We see water coming out. When we turn the shower faucet on, and when it sends water through the center to go out towards your shower spigot, the water is leaking at that point. So the knobs are off, didn't have any problems. Try the kitchen sink, turn the faucet on, it's coming out of the base itself of the sink. And I think outside was the only thing that didn't have any issues somehow, the outside faucet. So we were able to take the outside faucet shower head, put it inside to take care of that issue, but they still couldn't use a shower because it's leaking behind the wall. So the moral of the story is always winterize your RV. And I've also had some RVs recently that just had the lines blown out of them and things cracked inside because you can't get all of the water droplets out of your sinks and your faucets and your toilet valves, your Nautilus panels, and those items. The antifreeze would be a very, very cheap investment compared to replacing parts and paying for them to be fixed.
And when you say that, it reminds me of a lot of times people have said, like, I have the part, and they're like, I don't have the tools to fix it. Because you have a special part, unless it's like a normal drill or something, you know, the special thing to reach, because everything's in a really hard spot. And they're like, how do you even reach this when you go do the job?
Yeah, or sometimes you need to know where the screw's at to be able to reach behind the toilet. Because I can usually change a toilet valve without having to remove it. But a lot of times they send the toilet valve and a seal with it because most people have to take the toilet off to change it.
Okay, I don't think there's any more comments, so we'll go to another one. Oh, trapped by an awning. I just thought of this the other day. Trapped by an awning. Before he goes into this story, why don't you tell people your story of when you were trapped by an awning?
Oh yeah, the awning.
This is when Steve used to live in an RV before I was in the picture. And when I met him, I was really happy he was homeless. That's what I called it. Because then he could come live with me. Because he lived in an RV.
Now I give the homeless backstory. So,
back when you were homeless.
2009, I bought an abandoned racetrack in Michigan, and I was renovating it. So over the first winter, I determined I needed somewhere to, or probably first winter. Did some work over the winter, but it wasn't until next spring when I started. So I bought a fifth wheel RV, something I could sleep in. I put it on the property, hooked up power, water, sewer, all those items to it, and had the awning out one night. Storm come through, woke me up, and I went to put the awning in as a manual retract awning, and it got stuck part of the way. And I went to free the arm to put it in, put my hand around the arm, and it snapped in, pinched my hand inside of the arm where the metal come together, and I was screaming, trying to get my neighbor over, but they're like a quarter mile away. Obviously, they weren't going to hear me when they're inside the house sleeping and it's dark and the storm is outside, but I was trying. So I was able to barely reach the barbecue grill with my foot, drag it over because the tongs are on it, use the tongs handles to pry the arm off of my hand so I could be freed from it. And then I can go to bed after my hand stopped throbbing.
So
no broken bones or issues of it, just a lot of pain.
So that the next story isn't as big as that story, but that's why he now has an Apple Watch. So if he's trapped by something, he can call for help at any time of the day.
So now
Just
to
make
the
sure
story.
you keep that charged, please.
That's right. So this customer, they were inside their RV, getting ready to go to work, and they were going to put the awning in before they left, being responsible RVers, of course. And they're inside their RV, push the button, and then the awning falls off of the awning arms, which stayed out, and then the fabric just fell down against the side of the RV, trapping them inside. So they had to get someone over there to move the fabric out of the way enough so they can get out of the RV. And what happened was...
It's not so traumatic as your story.
No, not at all. So what happened in the situation is there's a pin that held the motor onto the arm. That pin broke, and then once the pin broke, the wires only holding it on, so the wires got
I don't know what
spinning
that means.
and broke off. I don't know either.
I don't know. We hear a noise.
It sounds like a piggy bank noise, but not quite. It's like we're on Mario Kart hitting coins.
Yeah.
And so that was where I come into it. The awning is half off, the wires are broke off, and the motors for this awning, they're really expensive. They're like $700 to $900 range for the motors. And I told them, this is the options. I can order a motor, put it in, or I can try to rebuild it. And if I can't rebuild it, and then that pays, got to order a motor. So took it apart, repaired the wires, fished them out of the motor, was able to go to the local hardware store in town. They had a little weird looking shear pin to put in there, put it back together, and it's been working great for them. So sometimes you just have to have a little bit of, I don't know, try into it or give it a shot, and then make a happy customer that way.
It's surprising that you found the parts you need in Oscoda, Michigan.
Yeah, I know. I was so surprised.
Because usually we got to go to Camping World. How far away is it from us?
From us, there it was about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the Camping World by us, surprisingly, is amazing. Great customer service, great staff, and they don't screw people over. I mean, obviously everyone thinks dealers either like them or hate them, but that Camping World, I have to say, is good. Okay, so I have no idea what the little Mario Kart noises are. Okay, this is a don't remove it, just seal it. This had a lot of comments when I posted it as a reel.
Yeah, so this RV, it was built during COVID time frame, so definitely a COVID camper. And my initial call out there was the refrigerator kept blowing the fuse, and they needed that fixed because the refrigerator wasn't working. Okay. And when I went out there, so I got the refrigerator working. It had a short inside of the fuse panel. I put a new fuse on, like just bypass it with an inline fuse. Got the fridge working, took care of that. He said, hey, while you're out here, can you just look at my sealant, make sure things are good. You know, your RV is only a year and a half old. Shouldn't be anything bad, just take a look at it. And had some typical issues around the front, you know, a little bit of bubble pops here and there, a couple cracks, you know, about half hour of work, pretty easy. And went around the skylight. It was actually my second time around the skylight, and I noticed a little bit of a film, a little bubble towards the bottom. So I scratched my fingernail, and I realized that the people that built the RV put a skylight on, screwed it down, didn't take the protective film off of it, then sealed over top of that film. So that worked great to start with until the sun started deteriorating that film, and then it was breaking down, so water was getting below the film between that and the RV roof to leak on the inside. So I had to peel all the sealant off, peel off the film. It wouldn't come off the top of the dome, which wasn't the end of the world. As long as it came off the area, I had to reseal, put it back down, took care of it.
Well, I don't remember exactly. Was it clear or was it blue? A lot of times it's blue.
It was clear.
That's why they should put blue shipping
Very true. Yeah.
stuff on there. And okay, so this makes me think, as a RV inspector, would you have found that if it was on there?
It didn't stand out much at all, so if you went around the roof quick, but now, after being in a situation, I would take my fingernail and I scratch on it. I also, from inspecting enough roof and sealant, there's a lot of times when you look at sealant around the skylight, if you look at it, it looks fine, but there's some dirt on there. So if you had an area that, okay, you got to reseal it, so you start cleaning it with your cleaners up there, and then when you actually clean the dirt off, you can see the cracks in the skylights. That's happened about 4 or 5 times. It looks great at first initially looking at it. So sometimes when you're inspecting RVs, you have to take a rag around the areas and wipe off the dirt so you can physically see the component to know it's not cracked or has issues.
So while we're talking about sealant, what's the difference? Tell them the difference you see between Michigan and Texas sealant.
So
big difference.
In Michigan, for one, people a lot of times will store the RVs inside for the winter, and it doesn't get as hot in Michigan as it does in Texas.
We have like 90-degree days, 90 plus.
Where Texas, I think, is 90 from May through September.
Mm-hmm.
And Texas RV sealant really gets beat up hard. Not just like also your paint gets like oxidized and faded out on the RVs and the sides. So if people don't really keep up on them of cleaning them and waxing them, that gets beat up. The sealant dries out really fast. You get a lot of cracks. Like the one I did on Sunday, the thing was only it was less than 2 years old, and the sealant was not all bad, but it was bad.
Yeah, when we started our business here at this RV park in Texas, and he did a whole bunch of roof inspections and sealant. And then when people were asking us to do it in Michigan, he's expecting to have like terrible stuff because they're like here. Someone needed a roof inspection. The RV is usually 2 or 3 years old, and like the sealant is trash, terrible, all needs to be redone. And then people in Michigan would say like, "Oh, I need it done. I haven't done it for like 5-6 years," and he gets there and like, "Oh, it looks really good still." So the sun very much beats up your sealant. Know that. So if you're in a hot weather state and you haven't done anything with your sealant, you probably got some water damage coming. Okay. Ken, this is a really good question.
So Kenny said, "What kind of jobs won't you take? Are there red flags that is not worth your time or not beneficial for the customer?"
First one I can say is certain types of warranties, like OEM, which would be appliances, your fridge, your microwave, those warranties. That's usually a huge waste of our time.
Yeah,
and
because
then he can answer the rest.
The issue is with some of those warranties of the manufacturer of the component. Let's just pick on Dometic for a second. I'll say they make a water heater, and
true story right here.
And not mentioning any names.
Yeah.
Let's say they make a water heater, and there's issues that the customer is experiencing. Now, there's certain installation guidelines that has to be done right, which is the RV manufacturer. So there's a war between the manufacturer and the component manufacturer that say your part is bad, you installed it wrong, back and forth, and here's me in the middle. I'm just here trying to take care of the customer, so you guys got to figure your stuff out. I can't keep driving out here for your arguments back and forth about it's not level, these issues, and blah 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 back and forth.
So you get some more to that, and I'll add on to this. So what happens with the OEM, the appliances, are like he's stuck in the middle, like he says. The customer says, "This RV is like a year old. I don't think I should have to pay for anything." And, the dealer or the manufacturer of the RV product should have to pay for it. And then what they want Steve to do, let's say it's Dometic, no, that's a real story, that they say, "Okay, I want you to go check this." And if you're not at that RV park, say you got to drive a half an hour to go check this, to go check it off their list, and they go, "Okay, now go check this. Okay, now go check this." They have like 9 things they want you to check, and each time you go check it, it's a couple days before they respond. So you have all this mileage driving back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. If you have your RV at the dealership, they can at least walk out to it. And then at the end, they're like, "Nope, I don't want to do any of this." So now you're like, I either not charging the customer, or the customer has to charge, or I have to charge the customer a whole bunch of mileage fees in my time. Like I have 4 hours into it and a whole bunch of mileage fees. And the part only costs $800, and I'm going to have to charge them $400 right now, and nothing's been fixed. So it doesn't make a whole bunch of sense. So that's why a lot of times dealers don't want to do stuff, and it's just like, we just tell the customer, if you want not your fridge, because that's like the biggest one, but other things, if you want your stove fixed or your water heater, it's cheaper for you just to pay out of pocket than to go with the warranty. They might cover it. By the time they cover it and you pay for all of our fees,
And
it's not worth it.
so just a quick wrap up that before we beat it to a dead horse is they'll pay for the actual part once you find a part that's bad. They don't pay for all the time trying to find a part. So if it comes down to a simple switch, oh, that's a 10-minute job to change it. Yes, it is, but you had me 4 hours into it trying to find it. So now to go back to the other question about what jobs we won't take. When a customer calls me up and they start talking about
Black tanks?
black tanks, I'm not that scared of for it. I don't do those when we're mobile in Texas because I don't have the parts and resources to be able to put those in. But when they talk about, oh, I need to change the toilet flange, or this is leaking, but I need some plywood changed underneath of it, or this is rotted out, or I got a soft spot in the roof. Once you open up a can of worms where there's water damage, it's not just that area, it's gone a long ways. If you're to the point where you know the floor or the roof is soft in a certain area, so those ones I refer them to someone that has a shop they can take it to because it's a lot more than a simple project that they think it is, and it's not worth my time running back and forth at hardware stores trying to do it mobily. So I refer those out to other spots.
And once you have a project like that, when you open a can of worms, they have other stuff that you might fix that, but it's creeped and it's a whole bunch and they don't want to pay that much money. So we definitely get them off.
Old RVs that have many issues not well taken care of, sometimes old RV is great condition, but if it's been parked in the woods and the thing's half falling apart and the wiring is all very, very fragile inside of it, once you touch one thing, something else breaks, then you're tied to it. So those ones I won't take either.
And they'll say like, well, you touched it and it used to work and now it doesn't. Yeah.
Speaking of which, I got a add-on for that story for you later.
Just for me?
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh, Elvin, Simon, Theodore's best friends. Nothing but a squirrel party. I feel bad for them.
Yes, I felt really bad for this customer, and we did a lot to help them out, minimize the damage that they had. Their had the RV parked at their property, and it was a guest RV, and they're not there in the wintertime, and they're planning on selling the RV in the spring. So they came up, opened the house up, and getting ready for the springtime, going into the RV, going to clean it out, and they were horrified by cabinets that were full of nuts.
Acorns.
The mattress was chewed, all issues all over the place. They ended up cleaning up they found that some plugs didn't work. That was the reason they called me out there initially. So they cleaned out all the cabinets that they could. They replaced the mattress and the underbelly. They cleaned all that out. Had everything down so I can get in there, work on stuff I needed to. Found the wires that were bad, and their issue was that half the plugs weren't working. So where those plug wires were chewed was also where the water line power, or the water heater power was, but the water heater plug worked. But the water heater wires were bare, like no coating on the hot, neutral, or ground wire, right next to the other plug wire that was chewed completely through.
Squirrels had a big party.
So if I didn't find that section in there, or they didn't have any bad plugs, they would have had wires that were bare in one section, and they would have had a major, major fire issue. So we were able to change that, fix some water lines in that area. They had a water inlet into the freshwater tank to fill it up. That was chewed, repaired that, spliced that, had Erica fill the water tank so we could turn the pump on, test the system, and 40 gallon tank, I forgot what that was. About a minute in, she says, hey, I got water running out the ground. I'm like, well, that's way too soon for the tank to be full. When I got down and looked around the tank where the water was coming out on the back side of the tank, these squirrels chewed the tank corners off, so water was leaking out.
They chewed the plastic, the thick plastic.
Yeah, like
they were hungry.
Very thick plastic.
They had all those nuts. I don't know why they weren't eating them.
Yeah, I know. So then we had to put a new water tank in. I had to fabricate different brackets up because you couldn't get one that was the exact size because the RV was 10 years old or so. And
that's a theme. If it's not exactly the last couple of years, they change the shape, just like the iPhone. Your case won't work from one year to the next. So it's an ongoing theme with this, that if you're an RV tech, you need to know how to fabricate some stuff to make a new part fit an old system.
Yeah, so then after that, they had me go through, do a full inspection report on it, checking all the appliances, making sure nothing else was wrong, because they wanted to sell an RV that was in good condition. They weren't going to sell an RV that was possible issues in it. And that report really helped them sell the RV quickly because people knew that it was freshly gone through. They could see the documentation that air conditioner works good, the fridge, furnace, water heater, all those items, everything worked.
Yeah, and on our Facebook page, I also promoted that because I mean, it was if you wanted an older RV that was
It was
in
really
good
in great
shape. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, everything was replaced. It was half brand new when Steve got done. And with that, if you have some kind of huge issue, um, they cleaned all the acorns and they already dropped the
Bye, Thomas.
underbelly and everything. That saves you a whole bunch of time. But at the same point, if you have something wrong with your RV and you try to fix it, usually that makes you have to pay more money because then he has to figure out what stuff was plugged in where. You can kind of go over that, like when they go and try
Sorry,
to fix it for you.
I was zoned out for a second. I don't know what you talked about.
When someone tries, like they would say in school, that when the putter butts or whatever, I don't know if that's the right word, do they try to fix the thing but they make it worse?
Oh, well,
I was telling
usually-
them if they clean the acorns out, that helps you. That helps them have a lower bill, because so you can see everything. So they already have everything cleaned out and they drop the underbelly.
oh,
But I'm saying if you do the putter butt thing,
right. If I come to an RV that's been hacked together, which I can usually tell pretty quickly that things are not the way that they were built to start with. There's things that aren't quite standard RV practice that were put into place that I have to repair or replace. Actually, it makes the job go longer because I have to repair what is not right so I can find the root cause of the issue.
yeah. So don't like start pulling wires and stuff because that usually makes the job take longer if you're gonna call an RV tech.
Right there below Kenny,
Yeah.
Jeff.
The
Jeff
wind
said,
sensor one.
"What kind?
Oops, sorry. It's very jumpy.
What kind of job is it to add in a wind sensor for awnings? I lost both awnings
Every time someone comments, it jumps.
in a windstorm, and there's a lot of money to change them. And I haven't added one in after the fact yet. I know they make them for that. I'd have to look that part up, so I don't know the answer for you on that one. So I believe it's possible, but usually how the wind sensors work, it goes by vibration of the awning itself. So when the awning starts doing this, it says, hey, it's too much movement, and it sucks it in. Sometimes there's a little wind turbine on top of it, but that's more the old school way of sensing the wind. So usually there's a motion sensor in the awning end itself, which I believe is normally built into it, but I don't know how you add it in aftermarket, so not sure.
I'd say go on YouTube and see if there's a good video of someone who gets straight to the point. My problem with YouTube videos where people don't get straight to the point are videos I'm like, bam, all the information. Okay, we have one last question
What's above
here.
that?
I think that was that one. The same one you just read.
Oh, okay,
The
that's the
wind
end of it.
sensor. Yeah, it's not very big, so you can't see the whole question. We
Janet
have
says,
one more question and one more slip, so if you have a question, make sure you get it on, and we'll read it after this one.
window question, the black rubber weather stripping on the outside has shrunk. Can you caulk the open area or replace the weather stripping? Yes or yes, depending on which one you want to do. So you can replace that little rubber stripping if you'd like to, because it will shrink over time. You can take it out and try to stretch it, but you're not going to get it quite to match up to the end. What I have done in situations like that, which is one of the rare times you get to use silicone on an RV, you can put some silicone in that spot to stop water from going in behind there and not have to change the seal. If you want to change it later, you got to peel the silicone off. Now, what was I going to say with that? Oh, if water does get behind there, it's supposed to come out the weep holes at the bottom. Now, if I am going to seal one area that's short, I will reposition it to make sure it's tight on one side, let's say the left, put a seal in there, and put the silicone on the right side. That way you can still pull that seal out to get behind there and clean out all the bugs and weep holes back there. We got a video on that too.
Yeah, but we don't
On
have that
cleaning it out.
silicone part. Yeah.
Right. We got a video on cleaning out the stuff because you can try to clean the weep holes from the bottom, but unless you physically take that seal out of there and get all that gunk out of there, you're not going to fully clean it. I had a customer that, it was actually the one behind us last year, that the dealer said they needed a new window and it was leaking for about a year or so. They had tape on it trying to keep all the rain out of it. And once I tracked down where the water was coming from, cleaning weep holes out of it, I could spray it with a hose and leak anymore. So with a quick clean job, I was able to save them from a new window.
And by the way, that customer messaged while we were sitting here. I was looking at my phone.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you have an answer. Okay, so our last little strip. This was like a, ooh, holy crap. Bee spray beware repair. Let's talk about the little bee
Yes.
spray.
So what this come from is the air conditioner wasn't working for them, and they wanted to go on the roof to see what was going on, and they found a big beehive inside of the air conditioner shroud. And so they sprayed it. I think they sprayed 2 cans of bee spray up there to knock it out. They didn't quite kill it 100%, but it was pretty knocked down inside of that nest.
We have the reel on that with the big. It was like this big.
Yeah, it's very big.
Well, this big.
And forgot what I was saying now.
They sprayed it. They killed
Okay,
it.
so when I got
Almost.
out there, I checked on the inside, and okay, I knew the bad part was on the inside, but I wanted to see they wanted the bee's nest out of there. They said take the shroud off and let's get it out of there so it's not going to be falling down or getting to the fan or something like that. And when I went up to the roof was just bubbled. It looked like looking out to the ocean, a bunch of waves out there just rippled around where it should be a
You were
flat
like,
rubber roof. I'm like,
"What
whoa,
is
what happened
this?
there?
What's going on?"
So I called them and let them know, hey, there's issues up there. I'm going to look and see what we can do for any solutions. And really the only solution in that situation was to, after a couple days, once things settled down a little bit, and I think it rained in the meantime too, which washed off some of the stuff, the bee spray up there. But I was able to clean off the sealant, which was like gummy, nasty mess, and put some new sealant on some of those spots. It says your roof has damage to it. You really need to watch it for water damage. The ultimate solution is going to be to replace the whole roof. But
It has water damage because like the roof membrane was like this, right?
Yeah, because the material itself has
This
been
way.
compromised.
It was
the-
flat, and then they had bubbles everywhere.
the bee spray penetrated through and ate into it, and then it makes it swell up. It's kind of like if you put a bunch of cleaners on rubber gloves and you see them swell up really weird, similar type of a thing. So what happens is I researched, and I need to know what's going on before I spray bee spray on something without knowing
Yeah.
what's going on. And lo and behold, in bee and wasp spray, it has petroleum distillates in it, which will penetrate through and break down a rubber membrane roof. So always make sure whatever cleaners you're using of any sort, because they do randomly put petroleum in other things, that it's not going to affect your rubber roof. And the next day, I had someone call.
And they're
Says,
like,
I really messed up. I sprayed bee spray on my roof and it's bubbled up.
They're
Not
like,
as bad as that one. So that one we took some Eternamon tape, layered it over top of the patch, so that way the roof wouldn't have, leak issues in that area. Sealed everything up. So it doesn't look pretty, but it's a smaller area, which was feasible to do compared to the day before, which is a huge area that didn't make any sense to try to do anything besides repair some of the sealant that was deteriorated.
So we're like, it must be bee season around here. We get 2 calls in 2 days about bee spray, and with that, it's only certain roofs, right? It's not all roof membranes.
Yeah.
You have to watch the video to know
Remember
which
right,
one.
it's the EPDM or TPO roofs. It's not going to be fiberglass or PVC because those are different materials that don't get affected by the petroleum.
This is kind of fun going over the backstories of the reels that you see. Okay, I know we have one more question. If you have a question, get it in there. Okay, John Ryan.
Where would you buy the weather stripping window repair places in Winnipeg? Couldn't touch them. I think you're talking about the weather stripping we talked about a minute ago. But then again, I would also go to Steel Rubber Products because they have the seals for slide outs and weather stripping and door seals and all those items through there. They have a great variety in that option. Your other option, if you can't find the weather stripping, you can call your window manufacturer, which is most likely Lippert, but I'm not sure your RV. I know it's the older one, John, of who made your windows at that time frame. So your best bet might be match up the size and try with steel rubber.
Okay, so I think we got all of your questions. Oh, wait. There's still another
No, you just
one.
threw that back in there.
Oh, I did? Okay. I was like, oh, there's still one. I didn't know that. Okay, this was fun.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. We're planning on going live in February and March, and then we go back to Michigan in April, and we don't have time, so you'll want to join then. February's discussion, we already know, is going to be around the topic. The exact title, I don't know, but it's going to be, will I be a good RV tech? Because we get this question constantly, and we don't really have time to make a full video, so I'm going to do a live, go through the script, answer the common questions, answer your questions afterwards, and then post it to YouTube. That way people can get some more information about that. And then March, I'll figure out what the topic's going to be. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll just be answering your questions. April 10th, we peace out. Well, April 11th, we peace out back to Michigan and prepare for a crazy busy summer. You guys are welcome. I see some thank yous coming in for our content. You like
Yes,
what
so
we
stay
do.
warm
Very
wherever you
informative.
are. Everyone, thanks for joining in for sure. And if you ever have any questions, feel free to always ask them. And if you're really want the deep dive, check out the
Mhm.
subscriber group. You can get some information off of there if you want to just come in for a little bit and peace out, or you want to be a supporter forever, be an OG, get in before the price goes to the normal $4.99.
Okay, bye guys.
Bye.